Hello, fifth grade. This is Monday, April 6th. It's time to do math. So take out pages 259 and 260. We're going to talk about the introduction to the area or the concept of area. Now, I want to talk to you just a few minutes about this because perimeter we learned about last week is going all the way around. It's the length around it. Perimeter is got the formulas here. Perimeter equals of a rectangle is 2 times length plus 2 times width. To find the perimeter of a square, it's 4 times side. 4 times side. So the area is sometimes divided up into units, and the square units. So sometimes the area problem is in square units, square inches, square feet, and etc. You can look at the yellow box where it says Introduction to the Concept of Area. And you will find that sometimes that area measures, it always measures the surface of a simple closed figure. And sometimes they divide it up into squares. So how do you do it? You have to count the number of squares and in the object. So the area in the first one is 84 square units. And the same way with the other one, the area is 36 square units. Now look at number 1. It says find the area by counting each square unit. If it's a square, we know we can count the units that's in the top part and then down the side. So each side is equal. So there's 6 squares at the top, 6 on the side, 6 on the bottom, 6 on the left side. So we would just simply say 6 times 6. So the area is 36 square units. And in B, if you count those square units, go ahead and count them. Do B and C and then we'll talk. Go ahead. Okay, in B, you should have gotten 21 square units. C should have been 16 squares, 16 square units. Now go to number 2. We're going to review the perimeter of these shapes. Remember the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle is 2 times length plus 2 times width. The perimeter of a square is different. It's 4 times side. 4 times side. So we're going to work on 2A. Let's look at this one. The length is 4.9. Let's go to our formula. Perimeter equals 2 times length, which is 4.9, plus 2 times width, which is 3.2. Now, when we do our math, we have to say 4.9 times 2. That's 9.8. Plus 2 times 3.2, we're going to multiply. 3.2 times 2 is 6.4. We're going to add this plus this, 9.8 plus 6.4. And we get 16.2. So the perimeter for 2A is 16.2. Everybody write that down, 16.2 inches. Remember it was inches, so it's 16.2. So write that down for 2A. Now we're going to go to 2B. I like dealing with squares because each side is the same. It's an easier formula. The perimeter of a square is 4 times side. If the side is 16.5 meters, each side is the same. So the perimeter is 4 times 16.5. So how did I do this? 4 over 1 is 4 times. I took 16, multiplied it by 2, which is 32, added 1, I have 33 over 2. Now what do? I use the cancellation method. Will these cancel out? Will these cancel out? The 2 and the 4. 2 will go into 2 one time. 2 will go into 4 2 times. Now 1 times 1 is 1, so we know that one. 2 times 33 is 66. So your answer for the perimeter of the square is 66 meters. So go ahead and write that down. The square's perimeter is 66 meters. Now let's go to 2C. 2C is a rectangle. Remember our formula for the perimeter of a rectangle. But look at this one. They try to trick you. It says the length is 4 feet 8 inches and the width is 16 inches. So you're going to change the feet to inches. Okay? And how many inches are in a foot? If you're going from feet to inches, you're going from larger to smaller. Remember 5th grade how you convert. Larger to smaller, you multiply. So you've got 4 times however many inches are in a foot. So it's 4 times 12. So you have 48. 4 feet is equal to 48 inches. You add the other 8 inches and you have the length of 56 inches. The length is 56 inches. The width is 16 inches. The perimeter is 2 times length, which is 56 inches, plus 2 times 16 inches. Let's look. Now I've done the math for you. 2 times 56 is 112, plus 2 times 16 is 32. I'm going to add 112 plus 32, and I get a total of 144 inches. So my perimeter is 144 inches. So I want you to put that down for C. Copy the work if you need to. But it's very, very important to make sure you know these formulas for perimeter. Now we're on to D. I don't know if you can see this. I don't have a lot of room right here. But in 2D, the sides are 3 and 2/3. 3 and 2/3 yard. Okay? 3 and 2/3 yard. Now we have, remember the formula, perimeter equals 4 times side. So we have 4 times each side, which is 3 and 2/3. What do I have to do with this mixed number? I have to change that mixed number to an improper fraction. If I don't, I cannot multiply the fractions. So how do you change an improper fraction to a fraction? 5th grade, you know how to do this. It's 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 more is 11, over the denominator 3. 11 over 3. 4 is a whole number, so it goes over 1. Now we have 4 over 1 times 11 over 3. You can't cancel any of this out. So we're just going to simply multiply. 4 times 11, we all know, is 44, and 1 times 3 is 3. Now we have our answer as an improper fraction. We have 44 over 3. We have to change that. What are we going to do? We are going to divide the bottom number into the top number. And we're going to do that right here. 3 will go into 44. Now watch Miss Debbie divide. I have a remainder of 2 that goes over the number I used to divide, which is 3. So my answer is 14 and 2/3 yard. So for 2D, I have 14 and 2/3 yard. Write that down. Now we're on E. Now we're on E. Let me clean my board a little. We just don't have, math takes up a lot of space. Now we're on E. Let's look at E. 2E in your book says it's a rectangle. Remember our formula for the perimeter of a rectangle. Perimeter equals 2 times length plus 2 times width. In E, the length is 4 yards and the width is 7 feet. So I like working in feet better, so I'm going to change 4 yards into feet. Now how did I do that? 4 yards equal how many feet? Remember, in conversion, you are going from larger unit, which is yards, to smaller. You multiply. How many feet are in a yard? 3. You're going to multiply times 3. And so your answer is 12 feet. So my length now is 12 feet. My width is 7 feet. I want you to picture the rectangle. You've got 12 feet. You've got 7 feet in the width. Let's use the formula to solve it. We have perimeter equals 2 times length, which is 12, plus 2 times width, which is 7. Let's do the math. 2 times 12 is 24, plus 2 times 7 is 14. I'm going to add them together, and my answer is perimeter equals 38 feet. Everybody put that down. Perimeter equal 38 feet. Now I want you to X out F. We're not going to fool with F today. We're going to go to a couple of our story problems. Story problems seems to be what some of you have the hardest trouble with. And I think that's pretty normal. But we're going to try to overcome that. So I want you to listen closely as I read them aloud, and you read silently. Because if you read along silently, you'll understand, okay? Let's go to 3A. It says Aaron bought 1/4 pound of peanuts for 98 cents. If he had bought 1 pound, how much would it have cost him? How much would it have cost? He bought 1/4 pound, and it was 98 cents. Now, 1/4 means there's 4 parts to that whole. If he bought 1/4 of a pound for 98 cents, how much would it cost him to have bought a whole pound? You're going to simply multiply the 98 cents by 4. Put your decimal where it goes, and there's your answer. So 3A is $3.98. Put that down. $3.98. Now, on B, let's read it together. Trent saved $21 for camp this summer. This is only 1/5 of the money he will need. How much money does Trent need for summer camp? So he has saved 1/5 of the money he needs, and it's $21. Okay? So that means there's 5 parts. You do it the same exact way. You multiply the 21 times 5. And if you do the math, that's simple. 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10. So how much money does he need? $105. So put that down for B. Are you ready to do C? Write that down for B. Now we're going to do C. The high school seniors sold cookies at school to make some money to send to the Floyds, who are missionaries in Mexico. If 2 cookies cost 25 cents, 2 cookies cost 25 cents. Let's read the rest of it. If 2 cookies cost 25 cents, how much did they make selling 398 cookies? Now we're selling 2 for 25. So we're going to take the number that they had sold, 398, divided by 2. When I do that division, it is 199. So it's 199 sets of 2 each cookies. You're going to take the 199 and multiply it by the 25 cents each. That's what you're going to do to figure this equation. Write this down, and I'm going to let you do the math later. For 3C, write this down, and I want you to do the math after I finish speaking, and then you can finish that problem. Let's go to D. Very simple problem. Listen carefully. Yesterday, Snyder finished her arithmetic, or Sydney finished her arithmetic worksheet in 30 minutes. What part of an hour is 30 minutes? Somebody answer. I believe you got it right. It's a half hour, 1/2 hour. 1/2 hour, 30 minutes is a half of an hour, so it's 1/2. Now let's go to E. Caden bought 4 pink roses to his teacher. 4 roses is what part of a dozen? So what you need to know is 4 is what part of a dozen? 4 is what part of 12? So what are you going to do? You're going to divide 12 by 4, and you'll have 3. So your answer is going to be 1/3 of a dozen. 1/3 of a dozen. So E is 1/3 of a dozen. Now, I want you to omit, or let's go ahead and do F. Let's go ahead and do F. F says Mrs. Rodriguez bought 9 mints for 72 cents. She bought 9 mints for 72 cents. How much would a dozen mints cost at that rate? If she bought 9 mints for 72 cents, that means they were 8 cents each. So how much would a dozen be? 12 times 8 cents each is 96 cents. So a dozen, because 12 is a dozen, would be 96 cents. So go ahead and put that down for F. Now, in G, it says, Ron bought a skateboard for $50. The skateboard was reduced by $12. See, he got it on sale. He got it on sale. It was reduced by $12, and he paid $50 for it. What was the original price? If he paid $50, it was reduced by $12. The original price was $62. Go ahead and put that down. Very good. Now for the review section, I want to give you a couple of little pointers before you work along. Remember number 5, it says find the number of degrees in the third angle of the triangle. Remember, Each side of that triangle, all three sides have to equal a total of 180 degrees. So right there beside number 5, I want you to write 180 degrees. I want you to write it just like this, 180 degrees. Now, I'm going to do the first one for you so that you'll understand how to do it. In A, it says one part of the angle, one side of the angle is 78 degrees. The other one is 29 degrees. I'm going to add these up. I have 107. I have to total all three sides of the triangle must total 180. So I'm going to say 180 minus 107. And then that will give me my answer. So write this down for 5A so you'll know how to do the rest of them. You can do it. Now, on the sheet, page 260, the worksheet, don't do the green ones. Do everything but the green ones. Okay, 5th grade, I'll see you for math tomorrow.